Yeah.
Okay, today is Sunday, November 3rd, and I just lifted the netting off of my brassicas to give them a little sunshine. It's either been too hot for them or it's been below freezing. We've had a couple frosts. That won't really hurt them, but I wanted to also pick the yellow leaves off of them. So we're going to walk in here, and I will tell you that I closed off the irrigation to the empty beds and to the asparagus so that the beds that are actively growing can be watered until, you know, we get below freezing, and then it's a little more difficult. So
this is your November update for Garden for Two. That's Teresa talking, and this is Charlie behind the camera.
Okay, this is the rutabaga bed. It's an 8-foot bed. I didn't grow too many because the last time I grew a 10-foot bed, we didn't use them all up. So we use them mostly in stew, and I cut them in small pieces. They give a lot of flavor to soups and stews.
Is that a rutabaga down there?
That's the biggest one so far.
I see it.
And I've recently had to raise the canopy because they were growing too big and they were complaining.
Why do you have them covered?
Well, we just started finding spotted lanternflies here, and I want to keep those things from getting to them. And as long as the weather keeps getting warm and then cold, you still are going to get some moths or butterflies that'll lay eggs on them.
So those are really big this year. Pretty good.
This is a new variety that I'm trying.
New variety. I hope they taste better. They're bigger than the other one already.
Yeah.
How do you like that ground weed block that's going in there? How's that working out for you?
The weed block has been very good for the cabbage. I mean, yeah, the cabbage, the broccoli, and the cauliflower. The rutabagas took issue with it because it was cutting off their circulation for their roots, which grow above ground, basically. So I had to cut the holes larger for them to fit.
So these little pieces of metal there, we never showed those to people. You put those together, right? For your hoops?
Oh, these, yeah. I bought these online. I had always used PEX because it was left over from a project, a plumbing project. But it's gotten really expensive now. So these were fairly cheap, and they're just short rods. I think they're fiberglass. And you put them together, they come apart when you're not using them. And the problem is, unless you anchor them down really well, they will, with a strong wind, the wind will take the canopy up and lift the rods.
It's just the skinny little pole going in the ground.
Yeah.
I guess you could eventually put some clamps on them.
Well, I do. I put clamps around the bottom. I use this kind of clamp. It's like it's supposed to clamp down tablecloths to your picnic tables. And the skinnier ones that I had before, they break very quickly. So I don't buy them anymore.
So you did your drip irrigation underneath this, right?
Yes.
You have a hose under there? Or?
That's the soaker hoses I used in this garden bed.
She used cheapy soaker hoses.
Yeah. And the thinner economy ones got clogged up very quickly. So I switched to the fatter ones. I'm switching over a little at a time.
Okay.
So
what else you want to show us today?
Over here, and watch your step.
So this is how she covered the bed. So we don't have to buy ground cover and then till it under. She just puts cardboard down. Does a pretty good job. And then the cardboard deteriorates. Oh, look at these.
These are cauliflower. They may be starting. I don't know. I actually didn't peel back the leaves all the way. But when they start, these are self-blanching, which means the leaves grow.
Couldn't see that. Over
the heads. No, I can't. I don't want to break the leaves.
Okay.
The leaves grow over the heads, and the leaves are starting to fold over on each other, so the heads will start to form. And just wanted them to get some air.
I think they're looking great, hon. Good job.
Yeah, they are. I did see some leaf damage to some of the newer leaves, so I have BT. I'm just going to spray spray that area real quick.
I'm going to spin around here so they can see your asparagus.
Oh. Ooh.
Look how big those beds got. This was the new bed.
Yeah, and they are just about done. This year we're going to try something different. We're going to, after the...
Wow, I hope we have a lot of asparagus in the spring.
After the stems die back and turn brown, I'm going to cut them out, and then I'm going to torch the beds, because that'll kill off, I've been told that'll kill off a lot of the asparagus beetle eggs and things that have been laid in the ground. I will take up the irrigation lines first. We don't need melted plastic in the bed.
And we had asparagus beetles. Not as bad this year, I think, as last year.
Yeah. No.
Did you get any of the rust this year?
Yeah, this is a lot of the brown stems were, the rust kind of creeped up on me.
You can't really see those. They're dead now. Oh, I see it here.
Yeah, the spots.
Here.
But
I see it on the stems.
We had it last year, and it didn't seem to affect the crop greatly.
No.
So I do spray it with neem oil, and also I spray it with copper spray.
Yeah,
kind of switch back.
We bought that electric pressure cooker, and we made our string beans in jars this year in the pressure cooker, and they came out really good. So I think we're going to do the same thing with the asparagus, right?
Yeah.
So here's another bed she's got covered. Okay. This one she put some straw or something down. Looks like under it, cardboard. Oh, what do we got here? They all look the same.
This is no.
Oh, I see a head already.
I only had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only had 10 cabbage seedlings when I started them in pots. So I had some space left, so I stuck 2 broccoli plants in there.
2 broccoli.
And they're not starting yet, but they're not happy. They want more room.
So it's been so dry. How are you keeping these guys like wet? I mean, we haven't had rain for a month, I think. Well,
the weed block holds a lot of moisture in, but the problem is it also provides a nice warm home for slugs over the winter. So I do throw some organic slug bait on top of the weed block.
Okay.
And they get to that first.
Are these like real hard to grow, like for people who are starting out in gardening?
It depends. I did have the soil analyzed when I first moved here, and since then...
Sorry, we have a plane going overhead.
Since then, we've added a lot of compost and shredded leaves and things like that, and extra soil. Our neighbor gave us soil that was mixed in with manure, and that really helped a lot. So, and this is a culture, which means we dug it down deeper than the soil line and put a bunch of rotting branches underneath it, which are supposed to rot slowly and then hold moisture for you when it gets really dry.
Yeah, it's just we had so much clay. We're up in Delaware, and this is what, zone 7A? I think 7A?
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the cabbage here is a fall crop, and the broccoli.
Yeah, look at this one.
The rutabagas are good in the fall.
The other ones are all just forming.
And
but
my
this
favorite
one,
cauliflowers. I see that one. Yeah.
This one is getting ready to be picked already. It's nice and firm. I can't believe it.
I can't see your hands in the white. There it is.
It's beautiful. Well, that's how you tell when it's ready, is if the head is really firm for this variety.
This one's firming up too. It's good. She's going to make coleslaw probably.
I'm going to try my hand at sauerkraut too.
Sauerkraut this year too? Lucky me.
We don't eat a whole lot of sauerkraut, but it's very good for you, and it keeps in the refrigerator for at least a year after you make it.
So we call our channel Garden for Two. I'm Charlie, and that's Teresa. And what we're trying to do is grow all of the food, the vegetables that we need for the entire year. And then we have a big challenge because we're just now learning how to preserve all the food that we grow, because like tomatoes, we grow too many at one time. So how do you keep them all? So this is what we're trying. And so far, very, very well. It's going very well. And if you want to go back 2 years ago when we started this project, this bed wasn't here. Nothing was here. It looked like that out there. And we thought it was good pasture, and we started digging and found out it wasn't. So you could go all the way back and see our discoveries and how we started building these beds one at a time in the older videos. Okay. Is there something else you wanted to to show me today? What else you
Yeah,
got going on?
I wanted to continue the thought about the soil. When we had it analyzed, they said it was low in phosphorus. And so I add extra phosphorus, and some of the crops like extra potassium.
Right.
But I just use mostly compost with manure in it, the soil, and I use just I guess it's a 3-5-4, something like that mixture. You could use 10-10-10 too. I have added extra nitrogen, blood meal, to the lettuce when I grow lettuce because it really likes it. Over there. Walk over there.
Walk over there.
Yes.
Sorry, we're cameraman, producer, everything all in one video. We don't edit our videos, guys. It's just us. We do this just so we remember what we did and when.
So I have beets growing here. They started to suffer from the leaf spot, but then I sprayed them with copper, and they're doing much better now. That's the leaf spot. Little round circles. And some of them are getting a good size. I mulched them with compost. Our compost, the brown part of the compost is made from ground up cardboard. We don't have a lot of leaves because we don't have any trees on our property. And it really, once it gets wet, it really holds the moisture in. They were getting too dried out, and now they aren't. I have 2 different kinds of carrots.
The carrots are getting really tall.
I'll pick you one.
Oh, there we go.
And
geez, I know a video where there's a dog that comes and loves to eat carrots.
yeah, the guy in New Jersey. They're doing much better this year than they did in the spring. And
I'm going to eat that one.
I know, I don't have any wireworms or anything in them either. They can stay in the ground, although I'd have to thin them out a little bit. They can stay in the ground until like December, January, if you keep a cover over them, and if it goes below, say, 20 degrees, you could put straw on them instead of bringing them into your refrigerator. So, and this is the lettuce.
We got a little bit of lettuce, not much.
I've been picking the lettuce a little bit at a time. It was suffering from the heat for a while and from aphids, but the aphids have slowed down. White flies are a problem here. I never had so many white flies in my gardens before. But the mini, what it's called, romaine, the mini romaine that I grew, we've eaten, and it's really tasty. It doesn't get, you know, big head. It gets a little head.
We haven't tried any of the real hardy varieties of lettuce yet. They try and grow them like all through the winter. We may do that next year. There's just a lot for us to do this year still, so we're focusing mostly on the orchard at the 10 trees that we put in our orchard, the 10 fruit trees. But Teresa mentioned before she had our soil tested, and there is an older video where we did document somewhat us taking soil samples around the property. You have to go to different areas, and then you put them in the bags, and then you sent them off to Delaware?
Yeah, Delaware Co-op Extension.
Yeah,
most states have them.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't real expensive or anything like that.
No, it was like $5 per test.
So, and they were pretty good, and the report was pretty thorough. I read the report when it came in. You kind of have to be a chemist sometimes, but you really only need to look at some things like calcium, potassium, nitrogen, you know, the basic minerals you want to find.
Yeah, if you have an extreme...
maybe not nitrogen.
problem with like not having some of the micronutrients like copper or things like that, that's not something I've ever encountered, so I don't worry about that too much. But
remember where you got the test kits from? Did they send you a little sample jar or something you had to put them in, or did you just use the block bags?
They sent bags. I ordered them through the mail, but when I returned them, I actually went into Dover, Delaware, and returned them right to the source. They have a box that you just put them in, and then they get back to you within 2 weeks usually. Yeah,
it was pretty good. So inexpensive thing, but it could really help you out. You know, you don't want to wait all the way till your things are like turning the wrong color leaves and you get all leaves and no vegetables, or you know, so it's better to know up front what you're getting with them. For $5, you know, go ahead and give it that a shot. So, was there anything else you wanted to show us today?
Just the rest of the broccoli over
All right,
there.
I'm going to press pause and we'll walk over. Okay, we're going over to the section that I call Teresa's Orchard. Planted in 2023. None of this was here at the beginning of the year in 2023. I had to fence it all in because there's a lot of deer. And these trees were just bare root, skinny trees when we planted them. But she's showing you something else today, I guess.
Yeah.
Around the edges, it's 70 feet wide. So around the edges, we put in raised beds. What do you got growing over here, honey?
This is the rest of the broccoli seedlings that I started in, I think I started them in August.
You go back and watch a video.
Yeah. And most of them are doing really well. A couple of them, I think, got a little bit girdled by cutworms or something, and it slowed them down. Cutworms are a caterpillar that crawls along, comes out at night, and it wraps itself around some of your plants, and it just chews and chews and chews and chews around in a circle. I did have cutworm collars on most of these, which are, there's tin cans, there's vinyl pieces of vinyl flashing I made into a circle, because a lot of times you could stop them that way. Sometimes they're sneaky. They like things with fatter stems, like peppers, tomatoes, and all the cruciferous vegetables, the brassicas in the fall. So
we changed the name of our YouTube channel to Garden for Three, Teresa, Charlie, and Cutworms.
No. So, giving them a little bit of sunshine. Oh, there's an unwelcome. That's
was that kale?
A spiny lettuce, I think. And then I've got a potato.
Oh, volunteer?
Yeah, because I grew potatoes here last year.
Any heads of broccoli? I didn't see any in the camera.
No.
Not yet?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. A little early. Are you going to show me the blueberries too?
Oh, sure. So the fruit trees and the blueberries have drip line instead of the soaker hose, because they're planted farther apart, and instead of having a soaker hose that soaks everything along the way, the drip line takes the water right to the bases of the plants that need it.
I'll show you that. So that's one. She puts rings, concentric circles around them, and then there's a hose just runs down. So
yeah,
our first year we had no time to do that, so we're just kind of catching up and watering everything by hand. It can be done. It's just time consuming.
This is all ground cover. I did plant ground cover here and there, winter cover, and it helps to loosen the clay soil.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I mowed it down and I threw cardboard on top, and a lot of it'll be dead underneath there. I just don't want the whole bed to be taken up by weeds. And a lot of this is radish, a radish that grows really, really deep, and then it'll die from the freeze, and it leaves the radish in the ground, which rots, and that's supposed to help the microbes and perforate the soil and break up the clay.
So Teresa is one busy person. It's just Teresa and I. We don't have any hired help or anybody. It's just us that do all this. And when I say us, I mean Teresa.
My husband does all the heavy work. If he shoveled and filled this bed here, we had to raise the bed up. Yeah, this came
out really nice, didn't it?
Yeah, it's cool.
So,
because we flooded last year.
Over here flooded, yeah. So we had to raise the blueberry bushes up. So they're raised up, what, about 12 inches at least now?
Yeah, huh? I'd say.
We didn't lose them because we had foresight when we got the blueberry bushes, and we just put them in tubs the first year. And they really took off. But we don't want to keep them in the tubs over the winter because the root balls might freeze and all that. So we wanted to get them in the ground, so I brought in all this extra soil. And we mixed that. It was peat moss. There you see the bale of peat moss and a little bit of manure, not much, because you want the pH right here.
And compost.
And
had a lot of compost.
Yeah, I put a lot of compost in. And then whatever kind of dirt we could get, soil.
The pH is supposed to be between 4.5 and 5.5. In the tubs it was, but now I still have to bring it down again because of all the soil we added.
Yeah. So the wood around the perimeter is just a pear tree that we cut down, and we just used it to make a border, and came out pretty good. It won't last forever. This one right here is a new one. What variety was this? Do you remember?
I don't remember,
See if
but
I swing around if the sun.
It's supposed to have very large blueberries, like the one to its right.
So that's a new one that we just planted this fall.
Yeah.
And these are the 4 that we had in tubs. So they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, this one in the center is still trying to make blueberries. It's still got some blueberries on it.
Oh, I see them.
But we found this one, the berries are too small, unless you want to just pick them and put them in muffins. So eventually we'll probably replace it.
Yeah. And we got to get some ground cover down here because we don't want weeds growing all up through here.
Yeah, I'd like to get some pine straw in here. That'll help with the pH.
But we paced ourselves. We brought like 2-3 wheelbarrows a day, maybe 4 sometimes. She's eating a blueberry. She's sneaking it. So anyhow, anything else you wanted to show? Yeah,
I'm almost done with this bed. I have
Oh, she's doing her drip irrigation now.
Yeah. The half-inch hose has neat little connectors, really easy to put together. But the feeder hose, the one that carries the water, it's really narrow. And you have to, I just can't force it over the barbed ends of this right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to dig out my heat gun. I ran an extension cord out here so I can heat the end and push it on and then cut it to length. And that's the last thing I have to do here.
Okay.
As far as irrigation.
Well, that's a good update.
The strawberries are all tamed. They've been cut back. I actually did mow them with the lawnmower, as I've seen done.
Now, she has a real little electric lawnmower. It's not like a big mower.
Right.
It's battery powered.
And it's narrow, so it fits on the 3-foot bed.
Yeah, and so it's not real aggressive. But it did a nice job. Last year we did it by hand.
Yeah.
We went in with scissors and on our hands and knees and did it. That was a lot of work.
I still did a lot of hands and knees, but it took the tops off, so there was less to fish through. I also have a small bed of garlic, which some people were asking about on the Delaware gardening group.
I gotta watch this. What is this?
That's a pecan tree.
You planted a pecan tree?
No, it planted itself from the trees in the next property over.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. A rabbit ate it to the ground last year. I put up better fencing against rabbits, and now it's coming back.
Oh.
So,
well, that wasn't in the plans.
no.
So this is, what'd you say, garlic?
I planted garlic here.
And then you covered it with straw to protect it?
Yeah, well, actually, to keep the weeds out of it. The garlic won't start coming up yet. With this 80-degree weather we've been having.
I heard some people had their garlic start.
Yeah.
But if you cover with the straw, it'll be okay.
Yeah. And I use a soft neck variety because I've had it. I bought it through the mail from Gurney about 5 years ago when we lived in North Carolina, and I've just been saving the smaller cloves and planting them every year. So I don't even remember the variety, but I like it, and it's free, and it can fit a whole lot in a small space.
Well, I see here on the outside the weed barrier. You're coming right along with that. I see you stapled it or nailed it to the top of the 2x4s. And then you go out about 12 inches with the weed block. That's good. That's a pain in the neck to try and weed whack under the fence.
Yeah, between the fence and the end of the bed, there was quite crop growing. And we could never keep up with it. But it does need to be sprayed. Over
here. You didn't do over here? Oh.
No, that's the last.
So this is the last. So this is the last. So this is actually pretty tame compared to some of it.
Yeah. But
it'll come over and it'll grow right into the bed, won't it?
Yes.
So
because we have I think that's sawgrass, but we also have wiregrass, they call it here, but it's Bermuda grass, and it's like zoysia or zoysia, and it gets underground and you can't get rid of it.
You know, with those runners, it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's about it. I'm looking forward to maybe seeing a few apples.
Well, he got a lot of leaves on him this year. They're supposed to be doing roots this year, not leaves.
Yeah, this is the Golden Delicious, and you can see it has a very pyramidal shape. The other two varieties I have, Candy
Let's walk
Crisp.
down. We can walk down a little.
I think this is the Candy Crisp, and that's the Wine Sap, and they are.
If you go back,
They have a different shape.
We have videos when we actually planted these and how we dug the holes and what we did. Here's some strawberry.
I know.
They look pretty good.
Crazy.
That's our broad fork there. That tool is invaluable for turning the soil when you have clay, breaking it up.
Looks like we need soil there.
Yeah. Probably running out where I dug some holes. So
I see strawberry.
I really like cherries. So I hope we get cherries next year, but probably not. But we'll have more peaches next year.
The cherry tree that we received, it was a little misshapen with all the branches at the top, and so I let it grow for a while. Now I have to tame it back. See, this is the lowest branch right here, where all the other trees have a lot of low vegetation, which you want for a small-time gardener like we are. You don't want the trees to get real tall. So we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot to learn about taking care of trees.
Yeah, the pear tree really got out of hand too, see?
Oh my gosh, look how tall that is already.
But the peaches...
That's up there almost 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, well, you don't prune them until early spring. The peach trees have already been pruned. I might need to take a few more branches off the one on the left.
Yep.
And that one is losing its leaves faster than the one on the right, which is like a month behind. It makes its peaches a month behind.
And you see the ground cover we had there, the weed block. That's where we grew our sweet potatoes this year in grow bags. Turned out, we got some, but we prefer growing in the ground.
Yeah, so we're doing in the ground next year with sweet potatoes.
You can see there, that ground was all low. So it floods there. That's actually one of the lowest spots. So we're raising the soil level there too.
Yeah, somewhat.
We do what we can.
Okay, so that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you for watching Garden for Two. It's Teresa and Charlie. This is our November 2024 update. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll be sure to read them to Teresa and she will answer your gardening questions. But we're here in Delaware in Zone 7A. All right, bye-bye.